Hello children, today I am here to teach you chapter 21 in your textbook, that's ratios. This is the third term work. So first lesson in third term work. So in this lesson we are dividing a quantity in a given ratio. Find the total value or the values of the other terms when the value of a term of a ratio is given, and apply knowledge on ratios in practical situations. So what is a ratio? Relationship between two or more quantities in the same units are called ratios. What are the characteristics of ratios? All the quantities are given in the same units. So that's important. Check whether all quantities are given in the same units. There is no units in a ratio. So you get just two numbers and write the ratio in the simplified form. So lowest term or simplified form you have to find. Look at this question. Length of one pencil is 6 centimeters. Length of the other pencil is 10 centimeters. Write down the ratio of lengths for two pencils. So this is about length. So you are comparing lengths. So with units, how can I write? What's the length of the first pencil? 6 centimeters. What's the other one? 10 centimeters. So do you know in ratios we use the symbol colon. And the other one is 10 centimeters. Now this is, you can see, I put the units. Now both are in same units, so you don't need to write down the units. So without units, I can write the same thing. This is 6 to 10. Then how can we find out the simplified form? So you can divide both sides by 2 to simplify. So 6 divided by 2, you get 3. 10 divided by 2, you get 5. So the simplified form is 3 to 5 ratio. So how you read that? 3 to 5 ratio. Write down the ratio between 20 centimeters and 1 meter. Now units are different. So different units. So how can I write the ratio? 20 centimeters and 1 meter. So how can I convert to the same units? We know the conversion. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So we'll convert meters to centimeters. So 20 centimeters, and instead of 1, I can write 1 times 100. 100 centimeters. Now, same units. How can I write without units? Both are in the same units, so I can just write 20 to 100. Now, how can I write down the simplified form? Divide both sides by 20. So 20 divided by 20 is 1. 100 divided by 20, I get 5. So what's the simplified form? The ratio between 20 centimeters to 1 meter, I can say 1 to 5 ratio. Ratio between 250 meters and 1 kilometer. So with the units I can write 250 meters to 1 kilometer. Now convert to the same units. What's the conversion? 1000 meters is 1 kilometer. Now we'll convert to meters. So this is 1000. Now without units, both are in the same units, so you don't need to write down the units. 250 to 1000. Now, simplified form, you can first divide by 10 and then divide by 25. 25 times 1 and 25 times 4. So, what's the simplified ratio? 1 to 4. Ratio between 45 minutes and 1 hour. So, 45 minutes and 1 hour. Now, you need to convert to minutes. What's the conversion? 60 minutes, 1 hour. So, here 45. Instead of 1, I can write 60 minutes. Now, without units, I can write 45 to 60 and divide this by 15. So, 15 times 3. You get 45. 15 times 4, you get 60. So, both sides you can divide by 15. Both sides divide by 15. So, the simplified form is 3 to 4 ratio. Ratio between 45 minutes and 3 hours. Now, we can do it. 45 minutes to 3 hours. Now convert to the same units. 45 minutes to 3 times 60, because 60 minutes is 1 hour. So 60, you get 3 times 60 minutes. So 45. Now both are in minutes. You don't need to write down the units. So I can write 45 to 3 times 60, 180. Now, how many 15s here? 3. When you divide 180 by 15, 15 times 1, 15, you get 30. 15 times 2. This is not the simplified form. You can divide again by 3. 3 divided by 3, 1. 12 divided by 3, you get 4. So, what's the ratio? 45 minutes to 3 hours is 1 to 4 ratio. Look at this one. Ratio between 480 milliliters to 2 liters. So, what's the ratio between that? 480 milliliters to 2 liters. Now, convert to the same units. How we convert liters to milliliters? Multiply by 1000. So, write down the conversion. 1000 milliliters is 1 liter. So, this becomes 2000 milliliters. Now, you don't need to write down the units. So, you can write 480 to 2000 and now divide by 10 and you can divide by 4. 4 times 1, 4 times 2. 4 times 5, 20, so 50. Still you can divide. So you can divide by 6, not 6, divide by 2, 6 and divide by 2, you get 25. So what's the simplified form? 6 to 25. Sunil got 80 rupees and Anil got 60 rupees. Ratio between the money between Sunil and Anil? Sunil, 80 rupees. So this is in rupees. This is also in rupees, Sri Lankan rupees, 60. Now, you don't need to write down the units because both are the same. So, 80 to 60. So, how can you simplify? 80 to 60. Simplify further. Divide by 10 and divide by 2. You get 4, 2, 3. 6 divided by 2, you get 3. 4 to 3 is the simplified form. If I ask ratio between Anil and Sunil, now the order is different. This is Sunil to Anil. Anil to Sunil. This becomes 60 and this is 80. When you divide by 10, you get this. Divide by 2, this is 3 and 4. Now, see, the ratio changes. Earlier 4 to 3, that's Sunil to Anil. Here, Anil to Sunil becomes 3 to 4. So, ratio changes with the order of names. In a class of 80 students, there are 32 girls. Find the ratio between male and female students. So, number of girls, it's given 32. How can we find out number of boys? Altogether 80 students are there. When you subtract number of girls, you get number of boys. So, how many are there? 8 and 4. So, 48. Now, we'll find out the ratio. Boys to girls. Boys 48, girls 32. So, we'll divide this by 8 first. 6, 4. Now, again, you can divide this by 2. 3, 2. So, 6 divided by 2, 3. 4 divided by 2, 2. So, what's the ratio between male, that means boys to girls? That's 3 to 2 ratio. This one, ratio between ages of mother and daughter is 11 to 3. If mother's age is 44, find daughter's age. Okay, so here 11 to 3 is the ratio between mother and daughter's age. We know now mother's age is 44. So you are asked to find out the daughter's age. Now see what happens here. 11 becomes 44 multiplied by 4. So you do the same thing to this side. Multiplied by 4. 3 times 4, you get 12. So what's daughter's age now? 12 years. As mother's age is multiplied by 4, do the same for daughter's age. Ratio between money that Sheila and Mala got is 5 to 13. If Sheila got 60 rupees, find the amount that Mala got. Okay, what's the ratio? 5 to 13. Now, Sheila got 60 rupees. This becomes 60. How you get 60? From 5 multiplied by 12. 12 times 5, 60. So, do the same thing here. Multiplied by 12. So, what's the value? 13 times 12. Multiplied by 10 and 2. So, 2 times 3, 6. 2 times 1, 2. So, when you add it, you get 156. So, amount that Mala got is 156 rupees. Look at this one. Total mass of Piyasiri and Gunasiri is 80 kilograms. If Piyasiri's mass is 50 kilograms, find the ratio between masses of Piyasiri and Gunasiri. So, what's the mass of Piyasiri? That's 50. 50 kilograms. Mass of Gunasiri then, the total is 80. So, 80 minus 50 is mass of Gunasiri. So, that's 30 kilograms. Now, we can find the ratio. Both are in the same units. So, what's the ratio between Piyasiri's mass? That's 50 and Guna series mass is 30. 50 to 30. Write in the lowest form or simplified form. Divide by 10. So you get 5 to 3. So that's the ratio between Pia series and Guna series masses. Ratio between A, B, C is 2 to 3 to 5. If A has 200 rupees, find the amount of money that B and C have. So ratio is 2 to 3 to 5. What happens here? 2 becomes 200. Means multiplied by 100. Do the same thing. Multiply by 100. 3 times 100 is 300. Multiply by 100. 5 times 100. 500. Now, amount of money B has is 300 rupees and amount of money C has, that's 500 rupees. Rates. What are rate? Relationship between two quantities with different units is called as rate. So earlier we did same quantities. If it's a length, you take a length. But this time, the two quantities are different. A runner runs 160 meters in 10 seconds. Distance and time. Totally different two quantities. So then we say we are finding the rate. 10 seconds runs 160 meters. So what about the distance run within 1 second? So 160 divide by 10. So you get 16 meters. So 160 divided by 10 is 16. So 16 meters are there. So this is called unit rate. Within 1 second, the distance traveled is 16 meters. First quantity should be 1 unit. So we call this a unit rate. Rajitha scored 80 runs in 20 overs. This is a cricket match. So how many overs? 20. What's the score? 80 runs. So within 1 over, how many runs are there? So 80 divide by 20. 0 get cancelled out. 8 divided by 2, that's 4. 4 runs. So this is a rate. Within 1 over, Rajitha scored 4 runs. Another question. Train travels 48 kilometers in 1 hour. Is this a rate? Time and the distance. So 1 hour, 48 kilometers. So this is 1 unit. So this is about a rate. 2 different quantities. One is 1 unit. The first quantity normally 1 unit. So that's a rate. Now we'll see how we find out the equivalent ratios. For a concrete mixture, 3 parts of cement mixed with 8 parts of sand. Fill in the blanks using the above. Look at this. 3 becomes 6. 3 times 2. So multiply by 2. 8 times 2, 16. 3 multiplied by 3, you get 9. 8 times 3, 24. 3 times 4, 12. So 8 times 4, 32. Then how you get 50 from 8? Multiply by 5. So do the same thing. 3 times 5, 15. How you get 48 from 8? Multiply by 6. 3 times 6, 18. So you get the same mixture when you use any ratio above. So 3 to 8 is the same as 18 to 48 or 12 to 32. So those are called equivalent fractions. So here we see 3 to 8 is the same as 18 to 48. So we call these are equivalent ratios. Mixing 3 spoons of milk powder and 2 spoons of sugar can make a cup of tea. So milk, sugar, 3 to 2 ratio. 6 means multiply by 2. So do the same thing here. 2 times 2, 4. 3 becomes 9. Multiply by 3. 2 times 3, you get 6. 2 times 4, that's 8. 3 times 4, 12. 2 times 70 is 140. So 3 times 70, you get 210. So when you mix with any ratio, the taste is the same. Write equivalent ratios. 3 to 5. What's the value here? So how you get 3 to 6? Multiply by 2. So you do the same thing. Multiply by 2. So 5 times 2, you get 10. Look at this one. 7 to 10 becomes 21 to, and you need to find out this value. So how you get 21? Multiply by 3. So you do the same thing. 10 times 3, 30. 11 to 15, and you need to fill this gap. 15 becomes 60. So you can divide and see. Divide 60 by 15, you get the value that you need to multiply. 15 times 4. So this is multiplied by 4. So do the same thing. Multiply by 4, you get 44. This one, 3 becomes 12. So that means multiply by 4. 12 divided by 3, you get 4. Then you multiply here this way. This number multiplied by 4, you get 16. Or other way around, you divide by 4. So you get 4. 16 divided by 4, 4. Or 4 times 4, you get 16. This one, 10 becomes 50. Multiplied by 5. So do the same thing here. Other way around. This way divided by 5. 45 divided by 5, you get 9. Or the other way, we can say 9 times 5, 45. So when ratio multiply or divide by the same number, can get the equivalent ratios. Fill in the blanks. So writing equivalent ratios. Multiply by 2. So multiply by 2, you get 6. 2 times 5, 10. Now multiply by 5. 5 times 6, 30. 5 times 10, 50. This one multiply by 3. 3 times 3, 9. 3 times 5, 15. Now multiply by 10. You get 90 and 150. This one multiply by 4. 4 times 3, 12. 4 times 5, 20. Now multiply by 6. 72 and 120. Look at this question. Divide by 2 now. Ratio is given. Divide this by 2. You get 18. 24 divided by 2, 12. Now multiply by 5. 5 times 18. 5 times 8, 40. 4 remaining. And 5 times 1, 5 plus 4, 9. 12 times 5, 60. Now divide this by 3 here. 3 times 12 is 36. 3 times 8 is 24. Divide by 3. Now multiply by 10. You get 120 and 80. What about this one? Divide this by 4. 36 divided by 4, that's 9. 24 divided by 4, 6. Now multiply by 6. 9 times 6, 54. 6 times 6, 36. Another question. 40 to 60. Divide by 2. It becomes 20 and 30. Multiply by 6. You get 120 and 180. Divide by 4. 40 divided by 4, 10. 60 divided by 4, 1 here. For 20, that's 5. Now multiply by 7. You get 70. And 7 times 5, 35. 3 remaining. 7 times 1, 7 plus 3, 10. Now do the same thing. Divide by 5. 8 and 12. Multiply by 8 now. 8 times 8, 64. 12 times 8, 96. Divide by 10 now. You get 4 and 6. Multiply by 3, 12 and 18. Now with letters, we'll see 7 to 11 is there. Multiply by 2, you get 14 and 22. Multiply by A. Both sides multiply by A. 14A to 22A. Multiply by 3 here. 7 times 3, 21. 11 times 3, 33. Multiply by B now. 21B and 33B. Multiply by 4 here. 4 times 7, 28. 4 times 11, 44. Multiply by C. You get 28C and 44C. Multiply by 5. 5 times 7, 35. 5 times 11, 55. So multiply by D. You get 35D and 55D. Combine equivalent ratios. So you have to tally this side with that one. So 2 to 7. Multiply by 2. You get 4 to 14. So this one. 3 to 5. Multiply by 2. 6 to 10. 8 to 6. Multiply by 2. 16 to 12. Now we'll take 24 to 30. So we'll take 24 to 30. We'll simplify and see. Divide by 6, 4 and 5. 4 to 5. Now multiply by 5. You get 20 and 25. So that's there. 50 to 25. We can't see at once. So we'll simplify first. 50 to 25. When you divide by 25, you get 2 to 1. Now 2 to 1. Can you see here? 6 to 3. Multiply by 3. 6 to 3. So this is this one. And 12 to 4. Divide by 4 both sides. 3 to 1. So you get this one. Write down equivalent ratios. Multiply by 2. So 4 times 2, 8. 5 becomes 15. Multiply by 3. 4 times 3, 12. 7 becomes 21. Multiply by 3. So 6 times 3, 18. 7 times 4, 28. So 6 times 4, 24. Look at the other ratio. 16 becomes 8 divided by 2. So you get 12 divided by 2, 6. 8 again divided by 2. You get 4. 6 divided by 2, that's 3. This one, 12 divided by 5, you get 4. 15 divided by 5, you get 3. Multiply by 2. 3 to 6. 4 times 2, 8. 24 becomes 3 divided by 8. 16 divided by 8, you get 2. So 3 times 5, 15. 2 times 5, 10. 2x, 3x. So when you divide by x, you get 2 to 3. Multiply by a. 2a to 3a. If it's multiplied by y, 2y to 3y. A to b. Multiply by 2, you get 2a. So multiply by 2, you get 2b. A to 5a multiplied by 5. b times 5, 5b. Father's age and son's age is 9 to 2 ratio. If father's age is 45, find son's age. So 9 to 2 is the ratio. We know 45 is now father's age. So 9 times 5. Do the same thing to the other side. Multiply by 5, you get 10. So what's son's age now? 10 years. To make a butter cake ratio between flour, sugar and butter is 2 to 3 to 2. Find the amount of sugar and butter needed if 80 kilos of flour is added. So what's the ratio between flour to sugar to butter? Is 2 to 3 to 2. But it's given. Find the amount of sugar and butter needed if 80 kilos of flour. So this is 80 now. How you get 80? Multiply by 40. 2 times 40, you get 8. So do the same thing. 3 times 40, 120. 2 times 40, 80. So what's the value here? 80 kilos of flour. 120 kilos of sugar and 80 kilos of butter. Now, how you find out the value here? You can divide by 2. So 2, you need 80. So 80 divided by 2, you get the value that you need to multiply. Now we'll see how we divide a given quantity in a given ratio. Ranil invested 30,000 and Tissa invested 20,000 rupees and started a company. The profit made by the end of the year was 50,000 rupees. Find the ratio of invested amount between Ranil and Tissa. So 30,000 and Tissa invested 20,000. Now divide all these by 10. 10,000, 4 zeros get cancelled out. You get 3 to 2 ratio. So first find the ratio between Ranil and Tissa. What is the profit of Ranil? Now how we find out the profit of Ranil? So here, first thing, first take the ratio and take the sum. 3 plus 2, you get altogether 5 parts. So if we can write down as a fraction, what's the fractional part for Ranil? 3 out of 5. So it's easy to write as a fraction, 3 to 5. And what's the part of Tissa gets? Out of 5, he gets 2 parts. So what you do? First take the ratio and take the total number of parts and write as a fraction. So we know the total profit is 50,000. So what part Ranil gets? 3/5. So you multiply by that, 3/5 of 50,000. So what's the value? 5 times here 10,000. 10,000 times 3, 30,000 rupees is profit of Ranil. What's the profit of this? So you can do that with the fraction. 50,000, he gets 2/5. 2/5 of 50,000. So 10,000 into 2, you get 20,000 rupees. So that's the profit of Ranils and Tissas. Find the amount of toffees that A and B get if the ratio between A and B is 5 to 7 and total number of toffees is 84. So what's the first step? You find how many total parts are there. 7 plus 5, 12. So as a fraction, A gets 5 parts out of 12 and B gets 7 parts out of 12. Now you can find out number of toffees that A gets. Number of toffees. A gets altogether 84 toffees. And what's the fraction? 5 over 12. 12 times 7. 12 times 7 is 84. 7 times 5, 35 toffees for A. So number of toffees that B gets. So 84 into 7 out of 12. So 12 times 7, 7 times 7, 49 toffees. Find the amount received by Mala and Sheila if 48,000 divided between them to 7 to 5 ratio. So what's the total number of parts? 7 plus 5, 12. So write as a fraction, this is 7 out of 12 and 5 out of 12. So what's the amount Mala gets? So what's the total? 48,000 divided between, so into 7 over 12. That's for Mala. So you see 12 times 4. So 4,000 here. 4,000 into 7. 28,000 rupees. And what's the amount Sheila gets? 48,000 is the total amount into 5 over 12. So here you get 4,000 into 5. That's 20,000 rupees. So when you add 20 and 28, you are getting the total amount, 48,000 rupees. Ratio between primary and secondary schools children is 7 to 6. If 3,900 students are in the school, find the number of primary students. So what's the total parts? 7 plus 6, 13 parts are there. So when you divide by 13, you get the fractional part. So how we find out the number of primary students? Number of primary students is 7 parts out of 13. That's the fractional part. Altogether, 3,900 children are there. 3 13s into 3,900. So 13 times 3. So 300, you get 300 times 7. 2,100 primary students are there. Father divides 4,800 square meters of land between his son and daughter to the ratio 11 to 5. Find the land area that son gets. What's the total number of parts? 11 plus 5, 16. So as a fraction, this is 11 over 16 and this is 5 over 16. So we need the land area for son. So that means total land area is 4,800 into 11 over 16. So this is in square meters. 16 times 3, you get 48. So this is 300. 11 times 3, 3,300 square meters. The ratio between length and width of a rectangle is 5 to 3. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 96 centimeters, find the length and width of the rectangle. So again, if the perimeter is 96, length, width all together, that's 96. So can you remember? What's the perimeter? Perimeter is 2 times length and width. This is equal to, what's the perimeter? 96. So divide by 2, you get length and width. So 96 divided by 2. So what's 96 divided by 2? You get 4 and 8, 48. So length and width total is 48. Now you have to divide 48 to this ratio, 5 to 3. Now we'll find out. So what's the total number of parts? 8. 5 plus 3. So that means as a fraction, this is 5 over 8 and 3 over 8. Now, what's the length then? Total parts is 48. 48 into 5 over 8. 8 times 6, 6 times 5, 30. What's the width? Width of the rectangle? 48 into 3 over 8. 8 times 6, 6 times 3, 18. So this is in centimeters because the perimeter is given in centimeters. So the length is 30 centimeters and width is 18 centimeters. In a street, there are 120 houses. The ratio between 2-story and 1-story houses is 8 to 7. How many 2-story houses are there in that street? So you can find out the total number of parts. 8 plus 7, 15. As a fraction, this is 8 over 15 and 7 over 50. Now you can find out 2-story houses. So how many 2-story houses? This is 8 over 15 into total number of houses is 120. So when you multiply this by 8, you get 120. 8 times 5, 40, and 8 times 1, 8 plus 4, 12. So 8. So 8 times 8, 64 2-story houses are there. When you subtract 64 from 120, you get the 1-story houses. The total cost of making an almirah is 18,000 rupees. Ratio between the cost of materials and labor cost is 2 to 1. What are the cost of materials and labor costs? Materials, 2 to 1 ratio. And what's the total number of parts? 2 plus 1, you get 3. As a fraction, this is 2 over 3 and 1 over 3. Now you need what are the cost of materials and labor costs. So cost of materials, that's 2/3 of 18,000 rupees. So 18,000 is the total cost. Out of that, that's 2/3 is the material cost. So 3 times 6, 18, that means 6,000. Multiplied by 2, you get 12,000 rupees for materials. What's the cost of labor? Labor cost. Labor cost is, what's the fraction? 1/3 of that. So you get 6. So 6,000 rupees is the labor cost. 6,000 and 12,000, you get 18,000. Now we'll look at the ratio between 3 terms. So far we did ratio between 2 terms. Find the amount of money received by each if 9,600 rupees divided between A, B, C to the ratio 7 to 3 to 2. So here also you find the total number of parts. What's 7 plus 3? 10. 10 plus 2? 12. Altogether 12 parts are there. As a fraction, this is 7 over 12, 3 over 12 and 2 over 12. Now you can divide. So 9,600 you have to divide. So multiplied by 9,600, multiply 9,600 by 7 over 12, you get amount that A received. Amount A gets 7 over 12 times 9,600. So you can multiply by 8. 8 times 2, 6. 16 and 8 times, so 96 you get. 8. This becomes 800. 7 times 800, 5,600 rupees. That's amount A gets. Amount B gets, what's the fractional part? 3 over 12 into 9,600. 12 times 800, 8 times 3, 24. So 2,400. And amount that C gets, 2 12s into 9,600. So you get 800 times 2, 1,600 rupees. So when you add all three, you need to get 9,600. Add and see. 6 plus 4, 10, 16, 1. That means 6 plus 2, 8 plus 1, 9. So you get 9,600 rupees. Find the amount of money received by each if 7,500 divided between PQR to the ratio 8 to 5 to 2. What's the total number of parts? 8 plus 5, 13. 13 plus 2, 15. So as a fraction, that's 8 over 15, 5 over 15, and 2 over 15. Now you can find the amount P gets. Total is 7,500 into 8 15s. So 15 times 5, 75. So that means 500 here. So 8 times 500, 4,000 rupees. What's the amount that Q gets? 7,500 into 5 over 15 now. So 15 times 5, 75. So 500 times 5, 2,500. Now what's the amount that R gets? Same thing, 7,500 into, now the ratio is 2 over 15. 15 times 500, this multiplied by 2, you get 1,000 rupees. Now see, addition, 4 plus 2, 6, 7, 7,500. Total is 7,500. Find the amount of ingredients needed to make 36 kilos of sweets if the ratio between flour, sugar and butter is 7 to 3 to 2. So what's the total parts? 7 plus 3, 10. 10 plus 2, 12 parts are there. As a fraction, I can write this is 7 over 12, 3 over 12 and 2 over 12. So the total kilos of sweets is 36. So divide between these three. So flour, 7 over 12 is the fraction into 36 kilos. 12 times 3, 36. 7 times 3, 21 kilos. Then sugar, 3 over 12 into 36. 12 times 3, 3 times 3, 9 kilos. And what's the other one? Butter. 2 over 12 into 36. You get 3 times 2, 6 kilos. So altogether you get 36 kilos of sweets with 21 kilos of flour, 9 kilos of sugar and 6 kilos of butter. If an amount of money divides between A, B, C to the ratio 8 to 7 to 5, A gets 2,400. Find the amount received by B and C. Now, how we get this number? 8 multiplied by something, you get 2,400. So you do other way around. 2,400 divided by 8. 8 times 3, so 300. That's the multiplied number here. Multiplied by 300. You have to do the same thing. Multiplied by 300. multiplied by 300. So what's the amount? 7 times 3, 21. So 2100. 5 times 300, 1500. So amount B gets 2100. Amount that C gets 1500. If mangoes divided between Sheila and Leela to the ratio 7 to 5 and between Leela and Mala to the ratio 5 to 11, find the ratio between all three of them. So it's given, this first ratio is Sheila and Leela 7 to 5. Then the next one is given 5 to 11. Now look at this one. Leela, so same amount, 5 and 5. So you can write straight away 7 to 5 to 11. So what's the ratio between all of the three people? Sheila, Leela, Mala, 7 to 5 to 11. 120 coconuts are divided between X and Y to the ratio 7 to 3. And between Y to Z, 3 to 5 ratio. Find the amount of coconuts received by X, Y, Z, X to Y to Z. Now can you see 3 is common? If this is 3, this is 5 and this is 7. So what's the ratio between X to Y to Z? 7 to 3 to 5. Now we'll look at the exercises and examples in your textbook. Example number 1. Write a ratio equivalent to 4 to 1 to 6, multiplying the terms in the ratio by 3. So 4 to 1 to 6. Multiply by 3. 3 times 4, 12. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 6, 18. So what's the ratio? 12 to 3 to 18. Express the ratio 8 to 4 to 12 in its simplest form. That means you have to divide and see. You can divide by 4. You get 2 here, 4 divided by 4, 1, 12 divided by 4, you get 3. So that's the simplest form. Simplified form, simplest form. Example number 3. The sides of a triangle are 8, 6 centimeters, 5 millimeters and 50 millimeters. Find the ratio of the lengths of the sides of the triangle and express it in the simplest form. Now look at the values. 8 centimeters, this is 6 centimeter and 5 millimeters. And this is 50 millimeters. It's easy to convert everything to millimeters. So multiply by 10. 10 times 8, 80 millimeters. 6 times 10, 60. And this 5, 65 millimeters. And here 50 millimeters. Now all are in the same unit, so you can find out the ratio. So ratio between lengths 80 to 65 to 50. Now divide this by 5 first. We'll see 5 times 1. For 30, that's 16. 5 times 1, 5. And for 15, that's 30. 5 times 10. So you can't simplify further. So that's the simplest form. Exercise 21.1. Write down the ratio for each of the following examples and express in the simplest form. The number of boys in a class is 20 and the number of girls is 25. So boys to girls, boys to 20 to 25. And we can simplify further. Divide by 5, you get 4 here and 5. So 4 to 5 ratio. The price of a pen is 15 rupees. The price of a pencil is 10 rupees. And the price of an eraser is 5 rupees. So pen to pencil to eraser. So 15 rupees, 10 rupees and 5 rupees. So this is not in the simplest form. So you divide by 5 to get the simplest form. 5 times 3, 5 times 2, 5 times 1. So 3 to 2 to 1 ratio. The ingredients for a cake are 1 kilos of flour, 500 grams of sugar and 500 grams of margarine. So we can find out flour to sugar to margarine ratio. So this is in kilos and grams. So it's easy to convert to the same units. 1 kilo is 1000 grams. Sugar 500 grams and margarine 500 grams. So you don't need to write down units. All are in grams. Now divide by 100. 2 zeros get cancelled out. Divide by 5. 2, 1, 1. So what's the ratio between flour to sugar to margarine? 2 to 1 to 1. The price of a mandarin is P rupees. The price of an orange is Q rupees. And the price of an apple is R rupees. So the prices: mandarin to orange to apple. All these are in rupees. So you can straight away write down the ratio. P to Q to R. For each of the following ratios, write down 2 equivalent ratios. So you can multiply by 2. I get 2 times 3, 6, 4 to 6. Or you can multiply by 3. 3 times 2, 6. 3 times 3, 9. 6 to 5 to 7. You can multiply by 2. 12, 10. 2 times 7, 14. Or you can multiply by 3. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 5, 15. And 3 times 7, 21. 1 to 4 to 5. Multiply by 2. 2. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 5, 10. Or I can multiply by 3. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 4, 12. And 3 times 5, 15. So these are equivalent ratios. Express each of the following ratios in its simplest form. You can divide and see. 12, you can divide by 6. 6, you get 2. 18 divided by 6, 3. 28 to 72, 42. First, we can divide by 7 and see whether we can simplify further. Divide by 7, 4, 10, 6. 7 times 6, 42. Yes, you can divide by 2 again. 2, 5, 6 divided by 2, 3. So that's the simplified form or simplest form. 25, 100, 125, we see that's, you can divide by 25. 1, 25 times 4, 100. So that's 4. 25 times 5, 125. So that's 5. 1, 2, 4, 2, 5. The sides of a triangle are 7 centimeters, 50 millimeters and 6 centimeter, 5 millimeters. Find the ratio of the lengths of the sides and express it in the simplest form. 7 centimeters, 50 millimeters, 6 centimeters and 5 millimeters. So you have to convert to the same units. Multiply by 10 to convert to millimeters. 70 millimeters. Here 50 millimeters already given. 6 into 10, 60. 60 plus 5, 65 millimeters are there. Now you can take the ratio. 72, 52, 65. Now, what's the common one factor? Divide by 5 first. You get 40. Divide by 5, that's 10. Divide by 5 here. 5 times 1, 5. For 15, that's 3. You can't simplify further. So this is the simplest form. Example number 1. Cement, sand and granite in a concrete mixture are in the ratio 1 to 3 to 4. Find the quantities of cement, sand and granite in 16 cubic meters of concrete. So you are dividing an amount to the given ratio. So what's the ratio? Cement, sand and granite. One, 2, 3, 2, 4 ratio. Now what's the total number of parts? 1 plus 3 plus 4. You get 8. So if you write as a fraction, this is 1 out of 8, 3 out of 8 and 4 out of 8. Now you can find out separately cement. So this is 1/8 and 16 cubic meters. So 8 times 2, so 2 cubic meters of cement. What about sand? Sand is 3/8 of 16 cubic meters. 8 times 2, 2 times 3, 6 cubic meters. And granite, 4/8 into 16. So you need 8 cubic meters. So when you add all three, 8 and 8, 16 cubic meters of concrete is there. Example 2. The ingredients to make 3 kilos of cake are butter, sugar and flour mixed in the ratio 1 to 2 to 3. Find the mass of each ingredient in the cake. So what are the ingredients? Sugar, butter, sugar, flour. What's the ratio? 1 to 2 to 3. Now the total is 3 kilos of cake we need to make. So what's the total number of parts? 1 plus 2 plus 3. You get 6 parts are there. So out of 6, 1 part for butter, 2 parts for sugar and 3 parts for flour. So what's the amount of butter needed? Amount of butter. 1/6 of the total. So here 3 kilos I can convert to grams and write 3000 grams. So 6 times 5, 30. So you need 500 grams of butter. What about sugar? 2 parts out of 6 into 3000 grams. 500 times 2, 1000 grams of sugar. And then flour. 3 parts out of 6 into 3000. 500 into 3. 1500 grams of flour. So when you add all these 1005 and 1005, you get 3000 grams. That means 3 kilos of a cake. Example 3. Nadaraja and Muhammad made a profit of 7,000 rupees from their small business. They decide to divide the profit in the ratio 3:4, which the ratio in which they invested in the business. Find how much of the profit each person receives. So who are the people? Nadaraja and Muhammad. ₹7,000 to the ratio 3:4. So what's the total number of parts? 3 plus 4, 7. So as a fraction, I can write 3 out of 7 and 4 out of 7. Now we can find out profit for Nadaraja is 3 parts of 7 out of 7,000 rupees. 7 times 1,000. 1,000 times 3, 3,000. So Nadaraja gets 3,000 rupees. What about profit for Muhammad? Four parts out of 7, and this is 7,000. So you get 4,000 rupees. So 4,000 plus 3,000, altogether 7,000 rupees. Exercise 21.2. 1,500 rupees was divided between Sumudu and Kumudu in the ratio 2:3. Find the amount each received. So Sumudu and Kumudu. What's the ratio? 2:3. So you can find out the total number of parts. That's 5. Out of 5 parts, 2 parts for Sumudu. Out of 5, 3 parts for Kumudu. Now, what's the total amount? 1,500. So Sumudu gets 2/5 of 1,500. And Kumudu gets 3/5 of 1,500. So simplify. 5 times 3, 15. So that's 300. 300 times 2, you get 600. Simplify this one. 5 times 300 here. 300 times 3, 900. Copper is added to gold in gold jewelry such that the ratio of copper to gold is 1:11. Copper to gold ratio is given 1:11. to 11. Find the mass of gold and copper needed to make a necklace of mass 60 grams. So the total mass is 60 grams. So first find total number of parts. That's 12. As a fraction, this is 1 over 12 and this is 11 over 12. Now you can find out mass of copper is 1 part of 12 into total mass 60 grams. 12 times 5, 60. 5 times 1, that's 5 grams. So mass of gold, 11 parts out of 12 into 60 grams. 12 times 5, 5 times 11, that's 55 grams of gold to make the necklace with 60 grams. The ratio of boys to girls in a school is 5 to 4. Boys to girls ratio is given 5 to 4. If the total number of students in the school is 1800, find the number of boys and number of girls there are in the school. So this is dividing any amount to the given ratio. So first find the total number of parts. That's 9. And write as a fraction. So 4 over 9 and 5 over 9. Now you can find out number of boys. 5 out of 9 and altogether 1800 students are there. 9 times 2, 18. So 200 times 5. 1000 boys. How many girls are there? You can find out using subtraction as well. 1800 minus 1000, you need to get 800, or you can use the fraction. 4 parts out of 9 into 1800. 9 times 2, so 4 times 200, that's 800 girls are there. A landowner divides his land of 1800 square meters between his son and his daughter in the ratio 5 to 3. So, son gets 5 parts and daughter gets 3 parts. So, what's the total land area? 1800 square meters. So, we'll find out what's the total number of parts. 5 plus 3, 8. As a fraction, this is 5 over 8 and 3 over 8. So, son gets 5 parts out of 8 with the total area 1800. 8 times 260. 2 remain. For 20, 8 times 2, 60. Now 4 remaining. For 40, 8 times 5. So multiply by 5 now. 5 times 5, 25. 2 remaining. 5 times 2, 10. 10 plus 2, 12. 1 remaining. 5 times 2, 10 plus 1, 11. So this is 1125 square meters. That's the son's part. Then daughter gets 3 parts out of 8 into 1800. So you get same thing, 225 into 3. 3 times 5, 15. And 3 times 2, 6 plus 1, 7. 3 times 2, 6. Now add and see whether you get 1800. You get 1800. So son gets 1125 square meters of land and daughter gets 675 square meters of land. Rice flour sugar and coconut are mixed in the ratio 4:3:1 to prepare a certain sweetmeat mixture. Find the mass of each ingredient in 2 kilos of the sweetmeat. So what are the ingredients? Rice flour, sugar, and coconut. What's the ratio? 4:3:1. And what's the total number of parts? 4 plus 3 plus 1. 8 parts are there. As a fraction, you can write 4 parts out of 8, 3 parts out of 8, and 1 part out of 8. So, what's the mass of rice flour? 4 parts out of 8 into the total mass. 2 kilos will convert to grams. 2000 grams. So here I can simplify this one. 4 times 1, 4 times 2. So 2000 divided by 2, that's 1000 grams of rice flour. What's the mass of sugar? 3/8 into 2000. 8 times 2, 16, and here 5, 250. 250 times 3, you get 750 grams of sugar. And what's the mass of coconut? 1 part out of 8 into 2000. So this is 250 times 1, 250 grams. So altogether 2 kilos means 2000 grams are there. A high nutrient food item is made of green gram, soya and rice mixed in the ratio 2:1:3. What are the ingredients? Green gram, soya, and rice. 2:1:3 ratio. Compute the amount of rice in a 840 grams packet of this food item. So altogether 840 grams. So they are only asking amount of rice. So we'll first find the total number of parts. That's 6. So what's the fraction for rice? This is 3 out of 6. So you can find the amount of rice. Three out of 6 into total mass is 840 grams. Divide by here 3 times 1, 3 times 2. So 840 divided by 2, you get 420 grams of rice. The ratio of the high school students enrolled in the science, technology and art streams in a school is 3:5:7. If the total number of high school students in the school is 600, how many students are enrolled in the art stream? So what are the subjects here? Science, technology, and art stream. We need only the art stream. It says 3:5:7 ratio. Now, what What's the total parts? 3 plus 5 plus 7. That's 15 parts are there. Out of 15, 7 parts for arts. We need only that one because they are asking how many students are enrolled in the arts stream. So number of students you can straight away find out. This is art students. 7 over 15 into total 600. 15 times 4, that's 60 and 0 there, 40. 40 times 7, 280 students in the arts stream. The ratio of length to breadth of a rectangular playground is 3 to 2. If its perimeter is 600 meters, find its length and its breadth. So we know perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length plus breadth. So perimeter is given 600 meters. So what's the length and breadth then? Divide by 2, you get 300 is the length and breadth. So that's the total between length and breadth. Now you can divide into the ratio. Length to breadth is 3 to 2 ratio. So you need to find out the total parts. That's 3 plus 2, you get 5. As a fraction, this is 3 over 5 and 2 over 5. Now you can find out the length. Length is 3 out of 5 into total of the length and the breadth. So that's 300. 5 times 630, so 60 times 3, 180 meters. And breadth. Breadth is 2 parts out of 5 into 300. So you get 60 times 2, 120 meters. When you add it, you are getting 300. Example number 1. A sum of money was divided between Ganesh and Suresh in the ratio 3 to 5. Suresh received 400 rupees. What was the total amount that was divided between the two of them? Now they are asking other way round. So the ratio between Ganesh and Suresh is given 3 to 5. And the amount that Suresh received is 400. So how you get 400 from 5? You can divide and find. Multiply by 80. So 400 divided by 5. You get 80. So that means multiply by 80. You do the same thing to this side. Multiply by 80. 80 times 3, 240. Now, Ganesh received 240, Suresh received 400. What's the total amount? Total amount, you add these two. 240 plus 400, you get 640 rupees. Exercise 21.3. Sugar and flour were mixed in the ratio 3 to 5 to prepare a mixture for a sweetmeat. Sugar and flour. Ratio is given 3 to 5. If the mass of sugar used was 750 grams, here, find the total mass of the sweetmeat mixture. How you get 750 from 3. Divide and say 6 and 5. 250. So multiply by 250. You do the same thing. Multiplied by 250, you get 0. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 2, 10 plus 2, 12. So 1250 grams of flour. Now you need total mass. Total mass is, you add these two, 750 grams of sugar plus 1250 grams of flour. When you add it, 5 and 5, 10, and again 10, 2. So 2000 grams is the total mass of this sweetmeat mixture. You can write, divide by 1000 and write 2 kilos. 2 kilos of sweetmeat mixture. Sirimal rides a bike from his house to the bus halt and then takes a bus when he travels to school. The ratio of the distance he travels by bike to the distance he travels by bus is 2 to 7. If the distance he travels by bus is 14 kilometers, what is the distance to the school from his house? That means the total distance. So what's the ratio between distance traveled by bike to distance traveled by bus? 2 to 7 ratio. If the distance he traveled by bus is 14 kilometers, and what's the total distance? How you get 14 from 7? Multiply by 2. So you do the same thing. Multiply by 2. 2 times 2, 4. You get 4 kilometers. What's the total then? Total distance is equal to 4 plus 14. You get 18 kilometers. So distance from school to house is 18 kilometers. A fruit drink is made using water and orange juice in the ratio 5 to 7. Water to orange juice is 5 to 7 ratio. If the quantity of orange juice used is 350 milliliters, this one is given 350 milliliters. What is the total volume of the fruit drink that is made? How you do that? How you get 350 from 7? You can divide and see. That's 50. Multiply by 50. Do the same thing to this side. Multiply by 50. 50 times 5, 250. So this becomes 250 milliliters of water. So what's the total volume? $350 milliliters of orange juice and 250 milliliters of water. So altogether 600 milliliters of fruit drink. Question number 4. The ratio of nitrogen to phosphorus to potassium in a fertilizer is 5 to 2 to 1. So nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. 5 to 2 to 1. If the mass of phosphorus in a bag of this fertilizer is 250. This is given 250 grams. What is the total mass of the bag? So you need to find out how you get 250 from 2. We'll divide and see. You get 125. So multiplied by 125. You do the same thing. Multiply by 125, you get 125 grams here. Then multiply this by 125. 5 times 125. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 2, 10, plus 2, 12. And 1 remaining. 5 times 1, 5, plus 1, 625. Then the total mass becomes addition of all three. 625, 250 and 125. When you add it, so 10, 1 remaining. So 8, 10, 8 plus 2, 10. 1 remaining. 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 1, 10. So 1000 grams is the total mass of the bag. That means 1 kilo. Divide by 1000, you get 1 kilo. When making a mixture of plaster, the ratio in which cement, lime and sand are mixed is 2 to 3 to 5. If the quantity of lime in a mixture of plaster is 6 pans, so that's lime, 6 pans are there. What is the total quantity of the mixture measured in pans? So total quantity. So how you get 6 from 3? Multiply by 2. Do the same thing. Multiply by 2, you get 10 pans here. This one multiply by 2, you get 4 pans. So we know when you add all three together, you get the total quantity. So total quantity is equal to 4 plus 6 plus 10. So 10 plus 10, 20 pans of the mixture. Example 1. The ratio in which cement, sand and granite are mixed in order to prepare a concrete mixture is 2 to 3 to 4. Cement to sand to granite. 2 to 3 to 4. Let us find the quantities of the cement and granite that should be mixed with 9 pans of sand. Here sand is 9 pans and the total amount of concrete mixture that is made. So how you get 9 from 3? Multiplied by 3. So you do the same thing here. Multiply by 3. You get 12 here. Multiply by 3. 3 times 2, 6 pans. So what's the total? So total amount of concrete mixture is 6 plus 9 plus 12. 9 plus 6, 15. 15 plus 12, 27 pans are. Exercise 21.4. Sesame balls are made by mixing sesame and jaggery in the ratio 5 to 4. Sesame and jaggery. What's the ratio? 5 to 4 ratio. How much sugar is required to make sesame balls if 500 grams of sesame is used? This is given 500. How you get 500 from 5? Multiply by 100. Do the same thing. You can do the same thing for both sides. So you get 400 grams here. Now what they ask? How much jaggery is required? So amount of jaggery needed is 400 grams. The ratio of female workers to male workers in an office is 3:2. So females to male is given 3:2 ratio. If there are 18 female workers, find the number of male workers. So you need to find out this value. 3:18 multiplied by 6. Do the same thing, multiply by 6. 6 times 2, you get 12. So how many male workers? 12 male workers are there. Question number 3. Tea and milk are mixed in the ratio 2:5. Tea and milk, 2:5 ratio. When making the milk tea, so how many milliliters of tea should be used to make milk tea? If 100 milliliters of milk, 100 milliliters of milk is used. So they are asking how many milliliters of tea should be used. So how you get 100 from 5? Multiply by 20. You do the same thing. Multiply by 20. 20 times 2, that's 40 milliliters. So amount of tea needed is 40 milliliters. Question number 4. Mr. Pereira's savings to expenditure ratio is 3:7. Savings to expenditure 3:7. If his savings during a certain month was 6,000 rupees, so the savings is 6,000 rupees. How much money did he spend that month? So expenditure. So how you get 3 to 6,000? 6,000 divided by 3. That means multiply by 2,000. Do the same thing. Multiply by 2,000. You get 7 times 2, 14 and 3 zeros. 14,000 rupees he spent. So you can write money he spent is 1,000, not 1,000, 14,000 rupees. Question number 5. An alloy is made by mixing masses of zinc and copper in the ratio 2:5. So what are the two alloys? Zinc and copper. What's the ratio? 2:5. If the mass of zinc in a sample of this alloy is 6 kilos, what is the mass of copper? Zinc is 6. So if this is 6, what's the mass of copper? 2 becomes 6 multiplied by 3. Do the same thing. Multiply by 3. You get 15 kilos of copper. Then second part, if the mass of copper in a sample of this alloy is 10 kilos, what is the mass of zinc? Other way round. Mass of copper, 10. Now, this is 10 given. You are asked to find out this one. Now, we have to think about how we get 10 from 5 here to here. Multiplied by 2. You do the same thing. 2 times 2. That means 4 kilos. So, what's the mass of zinc? 4 kilos of zinc. Now we'll take the third part. Find the mass of copper in 28 kilos of the alloy. So that means the total mass is given 28. So we need to find out the mass of copper. So we'll take the ratio 2 to 5. Zinc to copper. So what's the total number of parts? Total parts is 2 plus 5, 7 parts are there. Now try to write down the fraction. So you can write down this as a fraction. This is 2 over 7 and 5 over 7. Now you can find out the mass of copper. Mass of copper is, now here, mass of copper is 5 parts out of 7 and the total alloy is 28 kilos. So you can multiply by 28 kilos. So 7 times 4, 4 times 5, 20 kilos of copper. Part 4. If the mass of zinc in a sample of this alloy is 2 kilos. Now, the mass of zinc in a sample of this alloy is 2. Zinc mass is given. What is the mass of the sample? So, now again, 2 to 5 ratio. Now, zinc mass is 2 kilos. That means this should be 5 kilos. Multiplied by 1. So, what's the total mass of the alloy? So, mass of alloy is the total. Is the total. 2 plus 5, you get 7 kilos of alloy. Now we'll do the miscellaneous exercise. Silver and copper were mixed in the ratio 2 to 3. Silver and copper. 2 to 3 ratio to make a statue. If the mass of the statue is 1425 grams, find the mass of silver in the statue. So the total mass is given. So take the total parts. That's 5. So out of 5 parts, 2 parts silver and 3 parts copper. Now it's given. You need to find out the mass of silver. So what's the mass of silver? 2 parts out of 5 needed from the total mass 1425 grams. Now first we'll divide this by this. 5 times 1. 5 times 2, 10. 4 remaining. For 42, 5 times 8, 40. 2 remaining. For 25, 5 times 5. Multiply this by 2. 2 times 5, 10. 1 remaining. 2 times 8, 16 plus 1, 17. 1 remaining. 2 times 2, 4 plus 1, 5. 570 grams of silver. Question number 2. Kamalini, Nimal and Taraka divided several Veraloo, means olives, among themselves in the ratio 1 to 3 to 5. Kamalini, Nimal, Taraka divided olives in the ratio 1 to 3 to 5. If Taraka received 15 Veraloo, that means olives, how many Veraloo did Kamalini receive? Find also the number of Veraloo that Nimal received. So we need to find out these two values. How you get 15 from 5? Multiply by 3. So do the same thing. Multiply by 3, you get 3. Multiply by 3 here, you get 9. So Kamalini gets 3 olives and Nimal gets 9 olives. The ratio of Sinhalese to Tamils to Muslims in a certain city is 5 to 4 to 3. Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims. 5 to 4 to 3. If the total population in the city is 7,200, find how many Sinhalese there are in the city. So we need to find out the total number of parts. 5 plus 4 plus 3. 12 parts are there. So how many Sinhalese are there? 5 parts out of 12. So you need only number of Sinhalese people. So this fraction is enough. So number of Sinhalese 5 over 12 into total number 7,200. 12 times 672. That means 600 times 5. 3,000 Sinhalese are there in that city. So we completed all theory related to ratios. Multiplying or dividing the terms of a given ratio by a fixed number gives an equivalent ratio. If all the terms of a ratio are whole numbers and their highest common factor is 1, the ratio is said to be in its simplest form. So you can't simplify further. The total number of parts of a ratio is the sum of the terms of the ratio. The number of parts of each item is the term in the ratio associated with that item. For example, this is a mixture with cement, sand and granite, 3 to 6 to 8, has 3 parts of cement and 6 parts of sand and 8 parts of granite. So the total number of parts you can add it, 3 plus 6 plus 8, you get 17. When ingredients are mixed in a given ratio, if the amount of one ingredient or the total amount is known, it is possible to find out the amount of a single part by dividing the unknown amount by the relevant number of parts. Thereby, the individual amounts of the other ingredients and the total amount can be determined. So, we did all these. So, practice all examples and exercises and thorough with ratios.